I love to see the towns passing by and to ride these rails neath God's blue sky. Let me travel this land from the mountains to the sea, 'cause that's the life I believe He meant for me. And when I'm gone and at my grave you stand, say God called home your rambling man.
Welcome to Ramblin' Man Podcast episode number 68. We're going to do something a little bit different on this episode. I've been doing a series on my business Instagram and then posting them to YouTube, a video series called Uncertain Creativity. I speak to creatives, small business owners, teachers, makers, creators about how they deal with creativity and work in the time of COVID. It's been a fascinating and great series, and I've been really proud of what's been done with it. If you'd like to see all those videos, you can go to YouTube, search for Feral Giant, and then within the channel page there is an Uncertain Creativity playlist with videos. I'm still uploading some from a few weeks ago, still chunking along, uploading those, and I may do some more videos here in the near future. But for this episode, I'm posting my talks with Marko Biddle, Stephanie Alaniz, Dennis Hough of Affirm Consulting. If you'd like to learn more about Marko, you can find him on Instagram at Marko Biddle Ceramics. That's MarkoBiddle Ceramics. If you'd like to learn more about Stephanie Alaniz, you can find her at Bavarian Baby, BAVARIANBABY. Or for Dennis, you can find him at affirm.consulting on the web or on Instagram at affirm_consulting. I appreciate Marko, Stephanie, and Dennis for being on the episode. Be sure to give them a follow on social media. They're a great follow. And like I said, we'll see how the next episode goes. I may post some more talks from that series. No sponsor this week. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and if you really want to help, really want to give back, really want to show support, find Black-owned businesses in your community and support them, but don't just support them now and get a pat on the back. Support them in perpetuity. And if you'd like to give any money, go to blacklivesmatter.com and give money there. Find a local chapter and do what you can, no matter what. Thank you again for listening. Without much further ado, here's the episode. How are you doing this morning?
I'm all right, buddy. How are you?
Doing good. It's I was going to say, how's the weather up there?
It's gorgeous right now. It really is. Went out for a run earlier. It's going to be like 70 degrees today, so try to spend as much as I can outside.
It's started getting warm again down here, but then like last night it dropped down to the 40s. So gotcha. I cracked open all the windows to let all that breeze and all that goodness come through. So how about here at the beginning, how about you tell people what you do for a living?
Okay. I'm a ceramic artist educator. I spend most of my days teaching high schoolers ceramics. I currently live in Louisville, Kentucky, where I work at a private college prep high school where I just teach ceramics. Okay.
And so at what point did you all stop going to school? Like at what point did they like we're done?
It was early. It's been 8 weeks that we've been teaching virtually.
Wow.
So it's been a while.
Okay.
And we had a week break off. So, I mean, it's hard for me to remember quite exactly. I mean, late February, early March.
Wow.
So.
And how do you teach ceramics virtually?
So looking back, I could have done a lot more if I had known we were going to be out all school year.
Yeah. How did you? Yeah. How could you?
But originally, we were told we were going to be out those 2 weeks and then have our spring break.
Right.
And operating that way, I gave all of my advanced students and my seniors who are working towards like a spring exhibition, clay, tools, and potter's wheels to take home.
Okay.
To work. And those first 2 weeks, we just sort of had our classroom designated time that we would all join on this Facebook Live, and everyone would be working. I could see them in real time. They can see me, and we would just be working. And it worked out pretty well, but so my advanced classes, it hasn't been that big of an issue, but it's my intro classes that I had. My school runs on trimesters, so we were 2 weeks into the new trimester before we left.
Man.
And I can't give, or I wasn't able to give clay and materials for all my new students to take home at that point. And at first, I had really thought, it was only going to be about 2 or 3 weeks, and then it'd get back to normal. So, for them, I've been doing a lot of like art history lectures, and I've been fortunate enough. The ceramic arts community is a pretty tight-knit community, and we've been having virtual studio tours for my students, where we're going and visiting some of my friends in their studios. And that's been awesome. It's been very inspiring for them and me. So, yeah,
because you're getting to see how, bunches of people work differently.
Yeah.
Because not everybody works the same.
And it's been some of the artists that we've gotten to visit, are renowned artists, and the wisdom they were sharing with the students. It's been under normal circumstances, they wouldn't have gotten that experience. And so it's been nice. It's been really nice.
So at this point, has Kentucky called school for the year?
Yeah, that happened about a week and a half ago. They said we will not be returning to the traditional classroom setting for the remainder of the school year. So I have 2 weeks left of school with my students before we have like finals and testing and all that. So I have my students for 2 more weeks. And so what I'm determined to do is, so like with my advanced ceramics class, that's all seniors that are heading off to graduate, I'm going to try my best to make those 6 classes as special as possible for them.
That's awesome.
Try to really craft together some lessons and slides of like, student A, here's an artist that you always remind me of, or, speaking to their strengths, maybe even their weaknesses. And I'm trying to I'm going to make each of my seniors a mug that has some motives and quotes and things specifically for them to give as a gift.
Yeah.
I feel really bad for them.
Yeah. This is not the homework, but because this happened too soon, I just saw it this morning. Do you know who Keenan Ivory Wayans is? Mm-hmm. So he posted a video talking to students that were graduating, and he's talking, but he's like talking just off. He looks like a grandpa. I think he's a great grandpa at this point. And he's like, I just click this button here, doing that. And he gives this really great speech. And the video is only a minute long. And he's sitting like in a kitchen. He gives this really great speech. And then he's like, ends it. And then he stands up and you realize he is completely naked from the waist down. And it's all blurred on the front. But then he turns around and you just see his butt as he walks away. And all of a sudden you see his son come around and go, no. And jump. I was like, oh my God. But he gave this great impassioned speech for the students. I was like, oh, this is nice. And then when he stood up, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is amazing. Because it is weird. Like I'm seeing all these efforts now, like graduating students, like signs in yard. There's a lot of signs in yards and stuff around here. And for me, I'm wondering like, man, how is this going to impact like next year and college? For like you're talking about some of your advanced kids, like, will they start the school year on the regular, like in August or September? You never know.
That's those are some of the things, I guess, that keep me up at night. And those are all things out of my control. And like what I've been trying to do, like at my school, the name of my school is Kentucky Country Day, and the administration there has been very incredible and supportive, and, you know, sort of brainstorming with them. Okay, how could we make this work if we're allowed to have 10 students come together, you know, as restrictions loosen, and we sort of do that dance where we step on the gas, step on the brake kind of thing, which seems like we're going to have to for a while. Yeah. How can we make an in-person studio class work? And, you know, I am fine, and I would go in on Saturdays and have a group in on Saturday mornings, and then have the studio get cleaned, and then come back Saturday afternoon, or, you know, whatever we need to do to, you know, having classes and stagger them throughout the weekday and sort of break that tradition and try to get it to where the students are still having an opportunity to get their hands in some mud. And
yeah. I was curious if some of this would spill into summer too, but because one of my friends here is a teacher, and he goes to Europe every year during the summertime. He's figured out the cheapest way possible, you know, and he was like, and here they kept pushing back making the final announcement. And he was like, I kind of need to know. And I think I told him, I was like, dude, you're not going to Europe this summer. You're not going anywhere, man. You can maybe go on a driving tour of the States, but going to Europe's probably, that's probably not going to be on the radar. But he was talking about, you know, is it extending? Will he have to go into doing summer school? It's I don't know.
Every school's different. State by state, it's going to be different. Districts, it's going to really the impact is, the students that are going to be impacted the most are those that were already underserved, inner city schools, things like that, or rural schools where the students maybe don't have access to the internet. That is what I'm most concerned about. I'm not like, some of my students are really freaking out. Oh, how am I going to handle my AP test? If that's their biggest worry, they're going to be fine. And it's just a test score. No one's ever going to look at it later anyways. They have the pressure of trying to get into a prestigious college, but every other student in this country and throughout the world are dealing with those same issues and going to have to adapt. And,
well, it's like, was it Chef Andreas in New York? Like all the kids that the only meal they got during the day, to where he's like, well, screw that. I'm going to just start making meals for kids. Because I think first thing he said was something along the lines of, this is ridiculous that this is the only meal they get. Two, we're going to take care of them.
I mean, that was my childhood. I lived that growing up. The only meals that I received growing up were most often those provided at school. And then when schools were closed in the summers, were at these community rec centers. And they were pretty much the hot packs and cold packs that we would get at lunch. So I worry a lot about those children that are underserved right now.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of a way to say this without, I don't want to say it's good that this is happening, but I think this is opening a lot of people's eyes that that's been going on. Maybe. Does that make sense? Like, there's a lot of people who had no idea that was a thing. It's
easy for us to ignore those issues and sort of, you know, think of like when we're walking down a city and you see someone sitting there that's homeless, and we what do? We turn away. We try not to look and make eye contact. You know, the underbelly of our society, we tend to ignore.
How about you? How are you remaining creative, or is it kind of a struggle?
It varies day to day. It's, you know, these are uncertain times, but really, I think all of life is uncertain, so there's never a certain time. So
Yeah.
What I've been focusing on, I work best working for other people and creating and making for other people. So like right now I'm making these gifts to give to my seniors.
Yeah.
I thought about making a bunch of mugs, having maybe my daughter decorate them and donating them with like a little bag of coffee to some of the doctors that are working in ICUs here and stuff like that. But my biggest issue right now is I don't have access to my kilns.
Yeah.
So I can make all that I want right now, and I have some dinnerware that I'm starting, and I have a lot of things that I'm working on, but I don't have a way to fire right now. When I moved here to Louisville from Pittsburgh, I sold my kilns and things like that because kilns and ceramics, they don't really transport well. You try moving a kiln more than once or twice, you're going to break it. And so that has been, I'm very much looking forward to having access to my kilns again at some point soon. And then, I say my kilns, but the kilns at my school that my students and I built. So, so I'm excited about that.
Have you been kind of occupied with how this is all going for the students to where you haven't had time for like passion projects or anything like brainstorming?
The first few weeks, and maybe even now, I feel like I'm still maybe in a state of shock, and I'm just now realizing what's going on. And I created sort of like a daily checklist for myself. I know I can't be a good father or be a good teacher if I'm not tending to my own needs. So like on this checklist is, physical exercise, or physical health, mental health. So for the mental stuff, just keeping my hands, I have to do something with my hands, whether it's going or working in clay. Each day, I've been reading a lot, journaling a lot, and trying to just have those established nice little rituals and routines throughout the day. And then trying to then transition my focus to my students and my daughter and trying to go from there.
In doing that, does that help you kind of stay positive? Or are you staying positive at this point?
To be honest, it really varies day to day. The days where it's really pouring down rain in springtime in Kentucky, it's like, yesterday was pretty nasty out. So some days are better than others. Some days I've definitely felt like, man, I'm depressed. I don't have that, like the gas in my motivation car is just on E, and I can't get it going no matter how hard I try. And what I've recognized that's okay. And I've been trying to pay attention to why that's the case instead of ignoring it. It's just like if I go out and exercise and my muscles are aching, and say I went for a run and my shins are really hurting. If I ignore that my shins are hurting, I'm going to injure myself permanently, or have a major injury. So it's just like if I'm feeling down today, instead of ignoring why I'm feeling down, I'm trying to examine it a little bit. And it's just stretching my muscles after an exercise. I'm trying to maybe journal and reflect and try to stretch my mental muscles a little bit and try to notice why I'm feeling this way or that way.
Right. So that may be a good thing to kind of pass on to people, is figure out a strategy or a checklist, just day to day. Even I always preach quick wins. That's a thing in the military of making your bed because you're starting with a win. For me, it's okay, I'm going to finish my dishes in the morning. I put up my dishes this morning. They were dry. I put up my dishes. That's done. Clean life, clean, done. And getting those things done So on your list, it may not be like, I need to do 5 plates today for you. It could be, I need to start the laundry. I need to do this. I need to go for a run. I need to, not simple things, but necessary things.
And that's like, I was reading maybe a week or so ago, like Jerry Saltz, he's an art critic, and I really like him a lot, but he said something, might be paraphrasing. It was like, no matter what your circumstances are, you should find time to make art. And like part of me agrees with that, but part of me disagrees, because that's really comes from a place of privilege. I mean, we don't have our basic needs of like having a shelter, having food. It's really difficult to then trying to create art if if your basic physiological needs aren't met. And with with this pandemic, just taking care of those little things to take care of your mental health is vital. So at certain points in my life, I would beat myself up. Oh, I haven't made anything in 2 days, or it's been a week and I haven't gotten into the studio, or, oh, I haven't journaled in 3 months. I spent a lot of time like, oh, I'm just not beating myself up over that. But it is okay to take those sort of breaks, but also try to find that balance where, I always try to ask myself 3 questions every single day. Like, what do I want? What am I doing? Do they match? So I want to be, physically healthy. Eating lots of birthday cake yesterday, probably not the best decision.
Hey, that sounds perfect to me. I don't know what you're talking about.
As long as I have that balance where today I go and work that off, I'll be okay. But like, what do I want? What am I doing? Do they match? And if I want to be growing as an artist, I know I need to be putting those hours in the studio. If I want to be developing ideas and in tune with sort of those thoughts that are always in the back of my brain that keep me up at night, I should be journaling and reflecting on a regular basis, those types of things. So, and try not to judge myself too harshly when things don't work out. Yeah,
like Saturday I woke up and I just still felt like tired and not stuffy, but I just felt, and I was like, I'm done. Today is not going to be a day. And I just literally got out of bed, went in, laid on my couch, and was like, what Netflix movies are we watching today? And it was nasty outside. I was like, today is not the day. Today is not the day. I need to sleep, or I need to relax, or something.
And even when we're just sleeping and relaxing, we're still having those thoughts in our subconscious. So it's okay. It's not like, and again, I used to be really hard on myself and beat myself up like that wasn't okay. But as long as I don't make that Saturday turn into the entire weekend or turn it into the entire week, and just recognizing and having that balance, like, okay, I'm taking today's my reward for doing or accomplishing all my goals at the end of it. So that's what I've been like, setting up nice rewards at the end of the day, like, oh, I'm going to have this really good beer at the end of the night, or, something like that to reward myself in some way for accomplishing all my goals for the day.
I feel like through this, the excitement I get over dumb things has gotten ratcheted up really high.
Oh,
like the Parks and Rec thing was last night, and I didn't get to watch it live. And it's almost like skipper fingers, like, ooh, that's going to be on Hulu today. I get to watch the Parks. It's so dumb, but it's like, no, because it's going to be like 30 minutes of pure joy. It's going to be amazing. Like,
those.
I feel like that fits into the rewards. Like, it's like, oh no, this is something joyous today that I get to partake in.
And we've been seeing a lot of like major artists performing from their homes and things like that. And that's been really nice. And so like, that's why, like, what can I do sort of with the people that I interact with and try to brighten their days a little bit. So like dropping off baked goods to one of my coworkers' house and leaving it in our mailbox, or, making mugs for my students so they can have like sort of mementos to reflect on where they are today while they move forward. Because what I don't want are my students to try to shut this period out of their minds as they move forward. Really, like I have some students that said, like, I've always hated school. Now I've realized, like, I didn't take full advantage of everything that the school had. And at least now you recognize that. And when you move forward, when you're in college, learn from that and grow.
Yeah. Don't forget about this. Yeah. Okay. Let's shift over to the homework.
Oh yeah.
Now the teacher becomes the student. No. Are you a yeah? Sorry. So anybody watching, the homework assignment for this week is the yeahs video for maps. So are you a yes fan? Did you know this song?
I do know the song. I am a yes fan. They are on. I have a short list of musicians or bands that I haven't gotten to see live, and they are on that list. And they're towards the top of that list. I've been wanting to see them live for quite a while and just have missed them.
So I'm assuming you had seen this video before.
A long time ago.
Oh, okay.
So it's been a while, yeah.
So this video, so I have like a favorites playlist on YouTube that it's a mixture of like motivational speeches from like Rocky and, damn it, what is that the Oliver Stone football movie with Al Pacino as the coach? But I can't pull the name. Like it's like speeches, and then it's creative effort, some from people. Like the one I talked about earlier this week it was an ad for the Paralympics, but the bars were so deep all you could see was the people moving, like the ice hockey players and stuff, and it slowly got bigger, and then you realized they were missing like an arm or a leg, and it was the power of perception. So like with this video's been on my list for a long time because it's how the tension in this video it's uncomfortably tense. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why she looks like a coiled spring, like she's about to explode. And I've read stories on like, oh yeah, her boyfriend was supposed to be there. He was leaving the next day. He showed up late, and that's why she was so, like all this weird stuff, wow. But it's just the cinematography and everything. It's just so intense for such a middle of the line song. Like it's not like it's headbanger or anything. Like,
and it's so when you watch it, like, you know, the chorus is "They don't love you like I love you."
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, going back to like making mixtapes in the days of that, like,
oh my God.
How would I put this song on a mixtape for a girl that I just met? Yeah. I don't know. Because is it that uplifting of a song, or is it more like it almost describes a dysfunctional relationship?
Yeah, yeah.
And the video reflects that, where there's this band rocking out and the audience is just, are they even hearing what's being said?
Seriously, yeah.
And if you have to say to a friend or a lover, you know, they don't love you the way I love you, they probably don't love you for who you are anyway. They're probably just loving you for what you can give them. So it sounds like maybe you should find someone else anyways, or make new friends. But
that video, it's like perfection for that song.
Yeah.
Like it's the tension, the tenseness. I don't know. It's amazing. I'm curious. It's been curious picking different things for different people.
Gotcha.
Like the homework for different people. Some of them, like my buddy Adam, I was like, oh, there's only one thing, because it's something he and I talk about almost every time we talk. is this speech from Rocky Balboa. I was like, well, of course we're going to talk about that. Like, there's no other option. But then trying to find stuff that kind of fits other people has been interesting. But, yeah. Thank you so much for doing this, man. Hope you're staying safe up there. Stay active. Keep getting out.
Try my best. Been cooking a lot of food. Like you said, those little things. And getting excited about, ooh, I have time to make this. Ooh, I have time to make that.
Yeah.
And having a well-stocked pantry makes me feel like I could do this for quite a while if need be.
Yeah. So. Whereas I keep thinking of like, I need ice cream. Like I've been having a craving, and I keep pushing it back. Like I'm just going to eat the entire carton in one sitting, and then yeah.
I'm like, ooh, I could drive to Tennessee and get some Benton's bacon.
I thought of you the other day. Pratt's Country Store posted that they had been. I was like, you sons of bitch. I'm at the point where if I see something, I'm going to just buy it and put it in my freezer. And next time you're in the area, it's like, here.
That bacon's worth driving for. So when this stuff ends, we need to go back to, what is it, Jackie's Dream?
Yeah.
And I'll come visit. We'll get some bacon and go back to Jackie's Dream. That place is incredible.
That sounds like a deal, man.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm just trying to get this to be a.
You missed out on some talk about when I was a ring bearer, ring bearer.
Yeah, ring girl.
had a little bow on top. My friend Hannah was like, "Did you hide the ring in your beard?" I went, "Ta-da!" Which I should have done.
That's a good idea.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm good today. It's sunny outside. I took a shower. I ate a little.
Feels like you should get an applause for that alone. I took a shower.
I took a shower today, and so things aren't the worst,
I had just getting started. I'm a stay up late, rise late kind of person.
Yeah.
But I had a video chat the other day where I put in beard oil, and I was like, I don't know if you understand how important this is. I put in beard oil for this meeting, and they're like, "What? Okay." And I was like, "I haven't done that in like 5 weeks." So,
what does beard oil do? Does it make your beard softer?
It makes it softer, conditions it a little bit, but I should be doing it anyway because it kind of dries out if not. Mm-hmm. So I should be doing that, but there's a lot of things we should be doing right now.
But it's also okay to not do those things, like this is a heavy time. And a good friend that I was talking to on we're friends in person / the internet. But anyway, she was telling me, like right now we're all kind of grieving and trying to re-navigate our lives, and, we shouldn't be so hard on ourselves for not doing things,
It's weird. Like this past weekend, man, we're hopping right into it. We'll circle back around to what you do and everything. But this past I feel weird saying this past weekend was tough. But it was just weird seeing, because I'm down here, where everybody was on the lake, big groups of people. Somebody posted, one of the news stations went down to Gatlinburg, and that strip was just full of cars and people. And I was like, what the? And somebody tweeted and said, of course Americans would be tired of something and determine it was over. And I was like, that's pretty accurate and funny. So it's weird seeing all that. Like it's all just back to normal.
It's pretty.
When it does,
yeah. I think it's just disappointing because that's why we have the highest.
Yeah.
of cases because of how little we care about like people outside of ourselves, and that's like a generalized we, of course, but
Yeah, the royal we. Yeah.
the royal we.
Yeah, I had to watch. My sister is on here. My sister and I had to explain to my dad that people on Facebook aren't real, because he posted up something like, aren't we all supposed to be wearing masks and staying 6 feet apart? He posted that in a general Knoxville group. And one dude called him a Nazi.
Wow.
And one dude threatened to kick his ass. And I heard that and I started smiling. I was like, yeah, they're not real people, because Dad, you're 6'4" and you're a former truck driver. They're never going to say that to your face. They're never going to say, not to be tough or whatever, but I was like, they're not real people. And I was over there yesterday seeing him and my mom and my sister, and I was just like, they're not real people, Dad. And he's like, well, yeah, I was like, they're not real people. Everything's fine. Don't pay any attention to them.
Right. Don't put any energy into like these hateful people who are also using the cushion of the internet, to
Keyboard warriors. That's what we call them.
Hateful things. Yeah.
Calling him a Nazi was the one where I was like, what the? Okay, cool. You're just an idiot. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So why don't you tell the people, what do you do for a living? What do you do to earn money?
Well, I'm fortunate enough that I am an adjunct professor at Emporia State University in Emporia, Kansas, and of course we're just online. So I have the privilege of like continuing to get paid and teach from home. But with that being said, teaching from home is not. I mean, I don't work well at home. I've never. I'm an overly extroverted person, and I'm not good at being alone so frequently. I have my partner and our roommate, and that's been great. But I need more people. I'm teaching art in person, and my students in printmaking really are miserable. They miss making prints, and I don't really. And I just feel like stressed out and like it's my fault, even though I know it's not. And like, I'm aware of that, but I just want, I want them to have the studio that they want and get to use all the equipment, teach them all the different tricks that I know. And so that's been hard to navigate.
Did your school, jump on early to, we need to be from home?
We had ended up being on spring break, and then our chair was like, we should all consider remote teaching, because I think that's probably what's going to happen. And then we just extended spring break, which was like our week, to like figure out how we were going to the classes, because art, especially like printmaking or ceramics or other disciplines, they're not ones that are easy to teach at home remotely. Students don't have resources in their homes or apartments or whatever, so that's been tough.
Is most of your class younger students or people who would have graduated right about now?
I have, in my printmaking class, I have 4 seniors. So they all had exhibitions this semester, and half of them, one of them had their show earlier in the semester, so everyone was able to attend that. And then my second student, he was supposed to have it after spring break. So, but we all got to go to it. Like, it was installed. But we had to like social distance view it, and it was more just close friends and family.
Yeah.
Basically, you view it and then you leave.
Yeah.
which is tough. And then I have 2 students who didn't get to have exhibitions at all. So that was tough. But luckily, Emporia is pretty amazing for like a really small like college town. And we have people who have created like a First Friday, and they actually like prioritize students. So when this all happened, I told my student who would have been the 3rd exhibition, I think, to reach out to, her name is Kayla Mock, to reach out to Kayla. And Kayla super fast found an alternative venue, but then that didn't end up working because, you know, we're still on social distancing and no spaces are open. But I know that when spaces open again, that she'll have that opportunity still. And yeah, just really grateful for people like Kayla who are, you know, creating resources and helping problem solve for students who, you know, are still graduating but didn't get to have the exhibition that they wanted. So.
Yeah, I think it's good that some people are choosing to have a little bit of grace and patience during these times.
Yeah.
So how are you holding up during this? How are you Are you remaining creative, or is it a struggle?
Well, I have a few factors I think that already existed.
Okay.
And you know, when we were at Pentaculum, I was struggling to make things, but that was because I had like overwhelmed myself with too many things that winter. But I also had just graduated like the semester before that from West Virginia University with my MFA. So I was like recovering mentally, physically, and like from the trauma of grad school. Even though I had a really good experience, I just like really worked myself way past my own limitations. And because of that, I was exhausted and miserable and high stress all the time. So then when I didn't have anything to be high stress about, it was like everything small was a big deal. It would like spike and make me just like really overreact to situations that weren't big deals, and that I wouldn't normally overreact to. So I'm still like my body is still trying to adjust to like not having high stress situations. So the last year that I've been, well, I haven't been here a full year, but the last like almost year that I've been in Emporia, I've been trying to be really kind to myself and just know that like I'm a maker who has like overloaded herself, and now I have to like re-navigate that and figure out how to make art again. And so the answer is not art-wise. There are other things I do. I feel like I'm a stereotype a little bit because of course like I'm baking and that's but my roommate's a big gardener, and I've never gardened, but my mom did, and so now I'm starting to garden and learn about gardening. And I think what excites me about both of those things is that they're not things I normally did or had time to do. So like learning new like things, and those things feel very creative. And though they're not like artworks, they're just like a way for me to put that creative energy that I don't have energy to put into making art. But I am a part of this art swap, this quarantine art swap thing.
Okay. What is that?
A person on Instagram invited all of us to, she did an open call, and I just asked to be a part of it. And basically you make a small piece every other week, and you mail it on like every other Wednesday to a person that's been like determined through a list, and then they send you their art. And so every week you have a different person that you're trading, or every 2 weeks you have a different person you're trading with. And so nice. I made that last piece I had posted for the art swap
with the hand
thinking about pimples.
Yeah.
Yes. I was like, I hope they like it.
Yeah. Wait, that's your own version of ta-da? Ta-da? I think ta-da.
Because I'm like, I am a person who like, when I make art, I'm not making it to like appease people, I'm like trying to be thoughtful, and I'm still thinking of like my own concepts, like with insecurity, dwelling, and obsession, and yeah, things like that. So I'm definitely not going to sacrifice that. I just don't feel excited when I sacrifice.
Yeah.
A bunch of people are probably getting pimples in the mail, and hopefully they like it. I think they're kind of pretty. My drawings of them, that is.
Oh my God. I did. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, they're all colored pencils. All I was going to say. I'm not doing any prints as of right now, but
I put out a call, I guess about a month ago, for postcards. I'd done this project a few years ago called Year of Postcards, where I sent a different postcard every day of one complete year. And I actually physically went and did them. I didn't do 30 and dropped off 30. I did a postcard for every single day of the year. It's called Year of Postcards. And I would get friends who had kids, and I would draw pictures for the kids. I'd figure out what they liked and send them a postcard. Or if it was a person, I would just send them, write them something. I ended up doing nonprofits for like a couple months, where I just found a bunch of nonprofits I liked and just wrote them encouraging words and sent them postcards. So I kind of brought that back. I was like, anybody who wants a postcard, just let me know. And so I've been doodling and writing little notes and drawing pictures for kids, drawing BB-8 and R2-D2 for kids. Yeah.
That's very sweet.
So, I need to post that again tonight, because I had one that I was really proud of, where there are tiki mugs for the Golden Girls.
Okay.
One for each one. And a friend of mine, her and her husband have a speakeasy tiki bar in their house. And she's the one who kind of encouraged me to start this again. I was like, which one's your favorite? She's like, Sophia. So I drew the Sophia tiki mug and sent it to her. And I've been sending them out like a batch every Friday. I can't send them out every day, but I'll send out a batch every Friday, a little stack, 5 to 10.
So do you make them every day, like you make one postcard? No?
No, not this time. Before I did. When I did the year, every day I sat down and I did one postcard a day. And then I would physically drive it to the post office.
Are you doing digital ones, or are you doing traditional?
Traditional.
Yeah.
I've got a box full of old postcards, weird postcards. I just ended up having a bunch of people donate postcards to me. I probably got 300 to 400 postcards left to still do that. Oh, I see my friend Hannah got hers. Yeah.
Do you, so you're making the imagery on the one side? No.
I'm taking old existing postcards.
I see.
And then drawing on the back of them.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
So that's my version of the art swap, is like I just sit there. I've got a little cutting board. So I'm sitting there watching TV, just doodling on my little cutting board.
I love mail. I think when it's not bills, it's nice to get mail.
Yeah.
About mail.
But yeah, I'm seeing all kinds of people kind of do their own something to kind of stay tethered or connected in these times. Have you worked on any passion projects at this point? Would you consider the art swap a passion project, or Yeah, because
I've only done one, but I started the second one yesterday, and it's just helping me to like re-navigate how I make, because I was doing all those insecurity portraits and I'm excited to keep doing them, but because I did so many things for my MFA, I'm just really burnt out, and I'm trying to be kind and understanding. And I also think it's important, like right now, a lot of people are saying like, we should be using this time for productivity, and that we're wasting time if we're not doing that. And I don't agree with that. I think this is a good time.
Oh, I think you're cutting out on me.
Can you see me?
I think you cut out for a second.
Oh.
The last thing I heard was you didn't agree with the sentiment that this time should be used for productivity.
Yeah, because we work really hard every day of the year, and now we've been given an opportunity to just take a second and breathe. And I think, you know, the sentiment of like we should be making the most out of this and like doing as much as possible is coming from not ever being able to like sit and breathe and relax and feeling guilty about sitting and breathing and relaxing. And
yeah,
that comes from existing in a extremely capitalist like society. And
what? No. Yeah.
Yes.
This is news to me. I didn't know this was a thing.
Yeah. So I think now is the best time to just be like, and I still feel guilty. I would be lying if I said there are days where I'm not like, you should have made art today or you should have done something today. And I just think it's just be kinder to yourself and let yourself, you know, listen to your body. And if you don't feel like making, then you shouldn't make anything. You know?
Yeah. I am going to throw a but in here.
Sure.
But during this time, are you taking time to reevaluate how you create?
Yeah.
Or why you create the way you create?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I do feel like I'm always trying to be really reflective when I'm making art. But I mean, the being gentle and kind to myself thing had to be said to me several times by a lot of really great people, especially being someone who hasn't even been out of grad school for a year. You know, lots of people told me, you know, it took them like 3+ years to recover from grad school. So I'm trying to keep all of that in mind and just...
Yeah.
And so the whole thing is that I'm relearning how to make in a way that isn't self-inflicted, like pain. Yeah. You know, because when I was in grad school, I would sleep as little as possible, eat when I had time, and when I ate, you know, eating really like bad foods. And so learning to cook has been a big thing, or like, actually like taking the time to cook and eat 3 meals a day. And I've been trying to, now's been a good time for me to cut back on coffee because in grad school, I created a really harsh addiction, and that was, and it like,
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about.
It just got to the point where I would drink espresso and I would still be exhausted.
Yeah.
So that feels good to be like weaning off of it. And then getting to draw again, like drawing that hand was so big, and I drew it in a day. And I feel like I haven't made anything in a day in a long time, and that felt really good.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm re-navigating all of life, and it's also like on top of quarantine, but also on top of being someone who's fresh out of grad school.
Yeah.
And trying to teach.
Yeah.
You know.
Are you staying pretty positive, or are you having any moments of dread?
The first, I would say I don't know, what week are we in? Is it like 6, 7?
These are all good questions. Was it March? I think March 13th was the day the shit hit the fan. Because I think I've seen people post the last normal day we had was a Friday the 13th, but I remember that was the day everything kind of exploded. So I think it was March 13th. So shit, that's 7 weeks, 8 weeks.
So I've been isolated since our spring break. I've gone to the grocery store because I have to, but like for the most part, I don't go anywhere. I went to the school for the first time like 2 days ago, maybe, or something like that. And anyway, so let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm in week 8 of not really being around a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or 7, something like that, 7 or 8. But the first like month was terrible. And I was trying to, because I'm an overly extroverted person. So that means I need people and I need to be around people as much as possible. And I've been reflecting on that, and I think it comes from like some self-hate. And so that's been hard to like, but I understand that, and I'm excited to acknowledge it. And it still feels terrible, but I also think this is an opportunity for me to be alone with myself and get used to myself,
Right.
and not so terrible when I'm alone by myself. And
Yeah.
and then like the second or like the 2 weeks after that month, I think I had days that were really good and then days that were really terrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Some of that anxiety would come from like, I need to grade, I haven't graded, I should have graded, you know, things like that. I should have cleaned the house, I should have taken a bath, like just not doing the things I need to do because I'm feeling like so like sad.
Okay, so I do a follow-up question. When you do those things, do you feel better afterwards?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll give you the theory. I think this comes from the military. I gotta get on the Googles and figure out if this comes from the military. But it's the theory of quick wins. It's like they get up and they make their bed to get a win the first thing in the morning. So I think about that sometimes in like when I wake up and I'd done dishes the night before, I was like, I'm going to put all these away. And the minute I pull them all away, you have an empty rack, and it's like, that feels awesome. Like, and it just sets a different tone. Like, so I think about that a lot in these times where I can't just run, text a friend of mine and say, let's go grab a coffee, let's go grab a beer. Like, I can't do that. So I find those little things that kind of help mentally.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's definitely a satisfaction in like doing something and then having it be clear, like creating a list and then highlighting all the things you've done.
The key is figuring out that balance to where you don't feel overwhelmed by that list. Of like some of the days I've woken up and said, I need to get this one thing done today. If I get that one thing done today, it's fine. Everything's going to be okay.
Yes, I agree with that.
So are you, in those 8 weeks, are you remaining active? Are you getting outside? Because it has been really nice outside.
The first month I didn't. And I think it's just because like doing anything for myself, it was like easier if I have to like do something for my partner or my roommate, but it's harder if it's like just me.
Yeah.
So, no. My roommate and I have been going on walks, and that feels really good.
I was going to say, a buddy of mine and I have started every Friday. We go on a social distanced walk with one another. He lives in a neighborhood to where there's not a lot of traffic, so we can go and I can walk in the street and he walks on the sidewalk, and we just talk over cars.
I like that.
So that might be something for you if there's people in town that you can go on a social distance walk from.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. I like that.
Okay. We'll move on to homework. Talking about rampant commercialism, here's an ad for Coca-Cola at the end of this. So for the homework, for anybody watching, this week's is, if you search Coca-Cola, Fritz isn't from here, you'll find it. So had you seen this ad before?
No.
I didn't think so. So I used to see this before movies in like the early 2000s. Like that's when this ad came out. It's just weird and quirky and nuts. And the thing about Genghis Khan coming to the future to grab a case of Coke, and then it was like, and a corn dog. It's like, what are you talking? And a corn dog? It's so weird. What did you think of it?
I thought it was really strange, but it also felt like like a person made this. You know what I mean? Like not a company.
Yeah. Like you wouldn't know it was an ad for Coca-Cola. You know,
also it was interesting to see like it was essentially like video collaging with minimal animation. It was like just stills.
And it was all like historic photos and stuff. Like, yeah.
It was like they took old National Geographics and like cut pieces and collaged type and
yeah. And then it
bizarre.
And then it took that song. It made me find and buy that song. It's an Italian guy named Paolo Conti, and it's a weird song because it's all in Italian. It is Italian. And then all of a sudden he says chips, chips. And it's like, it fits perfectly because it's the most weird, like, I don't know what it is about. Like I said, I think I told you, I've got like a playlist on YouTube of just all this stuff that I just find very creative and weird. One of them's even a baseball. It's an ad for Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Moneyball?
Yeah. Or like I'm aware of it.
Okay, so the guy who directed this series of commercials, and it's the technical aspect of that. I'm talking about another homework, a future homework one, but it's a baseball game is happening and the camera's sitting, but it keeps zooming in and you can hear like the shortstop talking and you can't hear anybody else. And then it zooms back out and flips over to like the batter or the first base coach. And it's like, how in the hell did they do this? Like, it's just an interesting technical. I think about it as a commercial for a product 10th down the line. Because I think about the creativeness and what it took to come up with this and how the hell they did this. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know. And maybe I'm just a nerd to the whole commercial aspect of it all because it's what I work in. But
I mean,
this Fritz ad, I love this ad. I love it so much.
I liked it, and that's not something I'm normally watching. I also am not like watching a lot of like YouTube videos, and I have a lot of friends who do, and I just feel disconnected. You know, I like don't do that very much.
Yeah.
Unless I'm like watching, because I really like cartoons, and I know this is wild, but I listen to like people guessing like where the plot's gonna go, and like these conspiracy theories of like the little pieces of the show, and they're picking it apart. That's the thing I watch on YouTube.
Oh my God, the breakdown videos. Yeah.
Let's guess.
Anyway.
Let's get.
So was this ad a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Did you like it or not like it?
I liked it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was also smart. Like if they didn't have a lot of resources to do a video or like pay actors or had the technology for animation, that it was really simple and easy to do, but still like interesting and funny and bizarre. And I think because it's bizarre, it's memorable. You know?
Yeah.
Like that's a very smart decision on their part too.
Yeah.
And
this one actually, from the recommendation, the whole algorithm of YouTube led me to another commercial I'd never seen before from about that same time, talking about it showed a dude. It was almost like a NFL Films voiceover of a guy going into a gas station convenience store to get a Coke out of the fountain. And as he went back, he took his first sip and he looked around and he got a second sip and then took another sip and got a third. And it said something like, second sips are not felonies in the state of Missouri. And I was like, oh my God, that's hilarious. Like, that's hilarious to me. Like, it's taking it so, like, it's not a felony. We swear you can get a second sip of Coca-Cola. I was like, that's, how the hell do you, I work in this industry and I'm even like, okay, that's amazing.
Well, just pitch in ideas, I guess.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's good to see you.
Good seeing you. Take it easy.
You too. Bye.
Yay!
There we go. That's what happens when you have way too many social media accounts. That's exactly. Lesson number 1: simplify.
Simplify, not simplify. Simplify.
You can be simplified too, but make sure you simplify. So.
How's it going this morning?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Doing good. It's weird because I'm a late night person.
Same here.
So the other day, I was talking to somebody at like 1:30. I was like, "Good morning." Wait, it's not morning. It's morning for me. It's not morning for you.
It's not morning for you. Exactly.
But yeah, how about we start out? Tell everybody a little bit about you, or about what you do for a living.
Sure. So I'm a UT grad, engineering degree, and all that. I mean, spent some time in plant management and quality management, and I'm Six Sigma black belt and all kinds of craziness like that. But about 5 years ago, got laid on my heart to go start a consulting business. Had been mentoring businesses for about 12 years up until then, and had a lot of success doing that. And people were like, "Man, you need to go do this full time." And I was like, "Man, it's different. You know, mentoring's free. You know, you start charging that. Something about that invoice changes things, right? You know that all too well."
Oh yeah.
So I said, I really fought it, man. I fought it tooth and nail, and God just kept laying it on my heart, like, "Man, you need to go do this." And I kept having people nudge me. And so just over 5 years ago, went and launched a firm consulting. And really, you know, every business likes to think that they have some competitive differentiator, or they better. But really what makes us different is our whole business model is built around what the client needs. And that's short-term consulting, because the fact is most consulting firms have a tendency to want to be parasitic in nature. They want to hang around too long, and it draws the cash flow right out of businesses. And it's not that they don't add value, but I tell every client I have, the longer I'm with you, the more I become like an employee, and that's not good for you or for me. So, So, you know, we try to dive in wherever the client is. I mean, I say it's kind of a twofold approach. One is an internal look. So, you know, how does the business operate day to day? Is it effective, efficient, and profitable as it should be? And if it's not, how can we tweak that? And typically it's not wholesale changes. I mean, every once in a while you'll find a huge gap that a client needs, and we dive into that. And we're just very hands-on with a client, but we're a train-the-trainer approach, and so we're teaching them how to run their business. The last thing we want to do is have them be dependent upon us. Right. So that's kind of approach number 1. Approach number 2 is an outward approach, and that is, what's the strategy of your business? Where do you want to go? So, you know, short of 8 weeks ago or 7 weeks ago, you know, everybody was, you know, growth minded, you know, great economy and expansion, and growth just doesn't happen. I mean, organic growth will, and lots of times I say that's not necessarily a good thing either, because you're not planning for it and you're not prepared for it. But it's really more than just developing a strategy. We really focus. I told them, if you're looking for a 3-inch binder with a report in it, that's not us. We're not. We're horrible. No. But it's really getting down to the brass tacks of what is it a business needs to go do, and that's so dramatically different. You know, I think most business owners try to put a cookie cutter approach to business growth, and they've read a book or they've seen a video or they've read the 3 easy steps. And that's almost like the worst thing that you could ever do. I mean, imagine walking into the doctor's office and the doctor just hands the same prescription to everybody walking in the door. You'd be like, I don't think that's going to be us, you know? Yeah. So yeah, we take a very customized approach to it. You know, you and I have a career together back in the day, and I've spent most of my life in small and mid-sized businesses. I did spend some time in large corporations. Learned a little and learned what I didn't like as well in big corporations, but you know, my passion's small business. And so we just enjoy helping jump in with clients, meeting them where they are, helping get them and get launched back, you know, get that either downward turn or that plateau, turn back up again and get them rolling. And then we kind of disappear. That's our intent, is to work ourselves out of a job. And our business model is one that what we're looking for is to earn first right of refusal for the next time a business owner has a challenge, right? So, you know, the idea is like, hey, we know who to call. We know who to tap into. And we've had great success with that. We as a firm have had great success with that. But more importantly, we say our success is built upon our client's success, right? If we're not making them successful, we're doomed. And so we've been able to do that and have built quite a reputation. I'm now based, I lived 20 years in Knoxville but I'm based out of Orlando, Florida, which is where I originally grew up. But I spend 2 weeks of every month here in Orlando with clients and 2 weeks of every month in Knoxville until the last 7 months, in which case everything's been virtual. But that's kind of a snapshot of who we are, what I do.
So when all this started hitting the fan about 7 or 8 weeks ago, did you have a bunch of clients like coming at you like, what do we do? Yeah.
I mean, it was almost overnight. So we had some clients that we still were working, on growth strategies for them, because there was no reason to indicate that, this thing wasn't, that's not where we were at. Right. I mean, but almost overnight, and I probably should have written down the date. I didn't, but I mean, my wife's like, what's going on? And the phone started blowing up and people were like, okay, this is getting serious. Now what do I do? Right. And it's funny because as we sit here, X number of weeks later, I still share with people the same three things. And I wanted to share this morning, with you and those watching. I think there's three things right now that small business owners need. One is you need to give yourself some grace. And I've heard you on some of your other videos kind of talk about this subject. And man, I think you need prevailing grace for yourself. Because I went through this myself with trying to get things done. And at the end of the day, man, I was so frustrated. I'm like, what's going on, man? I'm not getting anything done. And the fact was I was getting things done. A little of it was the influx of client requests, increased dramatically for us. But most importantly was, everything what we just went through. Everything now takes 4 extra steps to get stuff done. Yesterday, if I could have blown up Microsoft Teams, I would have, because I couldn't get logged into a client's Teams, and they're expecting me to be on video conference calls and stuff, and I'm, pushing them out. So all that stuff just keeps rolling, and change management, whether you like change or not, and most people don't adapt well to that. My personality, I teach change, right? I help people go through that. But even for me, it's been a struggle, man. Everything's changing, right? Even the most basics of things is changing. And it's not even a matter of that we get to like go through change and then adapt. It's like, no, tomorrow's a whole new set of changes, right? It's a whole nother level of it. And so one's prevailing grace for yourself as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. You're not going to be as productive as what you're used to being in the past. And so give yourself some grace with that. You still need the persistence and all that goes with it, but grace, number one. Number two, and most everyone's heard this one, you got to protect cash flow. Like really, no joke. Get serious about it. And I say, make it personal. We told lots of clients early on, like don't pay another bill until you've talked to that debtor on the phone. Like, don't pay it. And not trying to put yourself out of business or get yourself in trouble, but everyone's going to have to work together to get through this. And here's why, that's so critical. And I haven't heard a lot of people say this, but if we knew how long this was going to be, it becomes a completely different ball game. Us and many other people can help you develop a plan. If you said, hey, listen, I've got X number of dollars and I got to get to 6 months is when this thing's going to, I'm going to be able to come back out the other side of this. We can strategize that and lay out a financial plan and strategy to make you get through to 6 months. I don't know if this thing's 16 months. And and what I think people are, I'm starting to hear more conversation about it, is even after the whole pandemic, the numbers start declining, the new norm's got to set in. And there's going to be so many peaks and valleys of the ripple effect, if you will, economically of this thing. It may be 3-4 years. I don't know. And I'm not a pessimist. I'm a realist, but I'm very much an optimist too. We're going to have to ride the troughs of this thing as the economic impact begins to happen.
Yeah, and it's wild. Like, now the push, especially here. I'm sorry. We're in the 2 states that are like everybody needs to go out and hug and kiss and do all this stuff. We're in the 2 states, Tennessee and Florida. who knows how that's going to work out? Like, this is all, I hate to use the term crapshoot, but they're like, no, just go out and, get your hair cut and go bowling and all this stuff. I'm like, but you don't know how that's going to turn out. Like this could be like, oh, okay, everybody went back out and everything went, and then it could just.
Yeah. You could have a complete phase 2, and maybe phase 2 is even more dramatic than this, right? I mean, because the whole virus is an unknown, right? I mean, we're learning. And I think it's human nature that we grasp onto data points as they come out, and we try to build a reality around that data point or data points.
Right.
And I mean, in everyone, I mean, the president, the government, the mayors, the governors, businesses, everyone's doing the same thing. And we all have our own perception and viewpoint on it, right? So we see it from different perspectives, and I think that's a good thing too. But yeah, I mean, my wife and I were talking about this the other day. I said, okay, so let's say 5 states say, yep, we're going back to normal. Okay, that's fine and dandy, but if I work in that state, so for me, if Tennessee opens back up, am I jumping on a plane, although Florida's not, and headed back to Tennessee to work with my clients there? I mean, it's like, maybe I am, maybe I'm not, right? I mean, and I'm not saying one's right or one's wrong, but it begins to create even further gray areas of like, okay, what does that look like, right? I mean, and then you're going to have states whole states, it's going to be like, hey, I can't let my, the competitors in a Tennessee, get ahead of my Florida-based businesses because Florida's going to stay shut, right? I mean, so those are decisions, man, I'm glad I'm not a part of, because what's a right answer for one person is a complete wrong answer for others, and you said it right. It's a crapshoot for everybody.
Yeah. Well, that's like, I read something, a friend of mine who runs a restaurant broke down all the numbers. They're like, okay, so they're pushing to open the restaurants back up, but we can only be at 50% capacity. And he actually started doing like numbers. And he was like, so that means at my bar, I can have 3 people and they have to sit 6 feet apart. Right. And he was like, why am I opening back up? That's dumb. Who wants to go and sit? And he was like, I don't know that they're thinking. It's like, I understand we need to get revenue and all this. He was like, but you got to think 10 steps down the line. You can't just think of, because he was like, I think they're thinking about restaurants that can hold 100 people and all this. And he was like, that's not how most of them are, man. But it was great that he actually broke down like numbers.
Well, and we encourage that, and I'll get to that here in just a second. But I mean, that sounds great. So it's like, okay, we're open, but what business has a business model that can operate on 50% of the revenue? Please, if you've got those, give me a call. You can reach me at Affirm Consulting. I mean, no, I'm serious. I mean, I mean, so now you're going to be open, but you're still going to be bleeding, right? I mean, and so I mean, it's like. Yes, it's the lesser of 2 evils, but that's not wholesome business either, and nor sustainable business. So, what does that look like? So my third piece, and we'll dive back into these again. The third piece is strategy. Let me go back to cash flow for a second. We're encouraging clients to do anything that you can, and I don't mean like unethical anything. I mean like. Even if it's the smallest of work right now, keep the revenue flowing. Any way that you can, keep revenue flowing, because it may take that last little bit of money, the old piggy bank, breaking of the piggy bank to get through this long term, because it's an unknown for how long this is going to take. And the third piece is strategy, and it's human nature right now, to want to go get in the cellar, and let this tornado thing blow over, because it's ugly. No, it is. It's ugly. But we're not encouraging clients either to go out and stand in the front yard while this tornado blows over either. But my point is like, you can go in the cellar and hide out and ride this thing out, but take some paper and a pen with you and start thinking about, okay, when I walk back outside and I see what devastation there is, right? I mean, that whole analogy of a tornado or severe storm, and God forbid both you and us have dealt with that here recently with tornadoes, but I'm not making light of the situation. I'm just saying that when you walk back out, you're going to see a completely different norm. Begin to strategize and think about what your business looks like in that new norm. There's going to be opportunities, first of all, that didn't exist before. And I don't mean like, hey, I'm going to go buy some health masks and sell them for 4 times the cost. That's not my point. But like, how does your business begin to pivot a little bit and refine itself to possibly what the new norm's going to be? I think it's an easy cop out to say, well, I don't know what it's going to be, so I'm going to do nothing. It's like, well, that is a strategy, and there's nothing wrong with that if you choose to do that. But you have to know that when these other companies go back and open the doors again, you're going to be behind, and that's going to be a tough catch up. We've told plenty of clients, because of the industries that they're in, there's going to be lots of opportunities, because you have to know that either you or your competitors are not going to make it all through this. And that's a harsh reality, but that's a reality.
Yeah. And I think I've been going the opposite end of like looking for people that I think will be struggling, like restaurants. I always go back to restaurants.
Yeah.
It's like ones that I think that are going to struggle. I was like, and start focusing more on them. I was like, throw more people need to go here, because I know they're going to be barely going to make it, if they make it through this at all.
Yeah. Well, this is bringing to light something that I mean, most economic development people, have been preaching for years. Most people that are small business owner in the small business community, we get it, but I don't think the mass population understands what voting with a dollar looks like. Well, right now, we're all voting with dollars. I mean, we're even voting with nickels and quarters right now, because to your point, those restaurants, those businesses that you love and that are your staples, you better be spending your money with them right now in some form or fashion, or they're probably not going to be there when we come through this. And if you're one of those people, it's like, oh, no big deal, I'll just move on to the next restaurant, then that's fine. But to those of us, and I know you're one of those, because we've had this conversation before. No, I mean, we are. I mean, I mean, it's my wife and I, when we leave the house, we drive sometimes 30 minutes to a restaurant that's not even close to us, because we're going to go order takeout from there, because they need it. I mean, and they won't be in business otherwise, and we want them to be in business. And they're good people, it's good food, and it's a good business for that community. So we're getting to vote with our dollars right now.
But what you were saying about the entrepreneurs, we've been already dealing with this. I'm seeing that in some bigger businesses. I had a friend hit me up last week, and he was like, we have an office that we're spending way too much on. Yeah. And he was like, that we don't need all that. This has taught us that half of our employees can work remotely.
Yep.
He was like, we need a conference table, and we need a few offices. And he was like, you're somebody who gets out. If you can find a cool building that's being reconstructed or something, please let us know. Because we're spending, and then he told me how much he's paying per month for rent. I was like, dude, I'm going to punch you, man. You're spending way too much money. Yeah. And he was like, now I realize that.
Yeah. That is definitely one of the new norms. I mean, I would, if I would bet the farm on something, I will bet the farm on that every size business is going to see how easy it is for some employees to work remotely. And the idea of having the footprint and the overhead that goes with these large footprint buildings and offices, people are going to be like, no, I don't think so. I mean, so I think you're going to take a business of 100 people, you're going to bring 30 of them back to work when we can go back to work, and the other 70 are not coming back to work. I mean, like into the office work, they'll just work remotely. There's no reason not to. I mean, we've overcome the barriers to make that happen, and it's through necessity, right? I mean, it's not a matter of we would have probably never done it otherwise. Some have, the Amazons and some of those did the virtual workspace before all this, but I mean, John and Sally's beauty supply companies doing it now. I mean,
I said this. There's two big companies in town. One of them is pet products, so I'm sure you can guess who that.
Yep.
Somebody who I used to work for.
Right.
They've got everything set up to where anybody can work from home. Their VPN, all that stuff set up properly. Like they went overboard and making sure that was right, because they constantly have to work with people in China and in the UK and in Mexico, so they're used to having to deal with that. Whereas there's a local major company that is in the healthcare industry, and I was talking to my friend who works there as a graphic designer. Right. And she was like, we're not set up for VPN. She's like, I can't work from home. She's like, my kids are out of school. Yeah. She's like, I don't know what to do. I was like, if you're a graphic designer, why are you not able to work from home? Right. Why do you have to be behind VPN? You're developing marketing materials that everybody's going to see. This is dumb. Like this is, your company is 50 years behind, not 10 years behind. Yeah. Like, what are you talking about? Like, And she's still frustrated with that because her 2 kids are like, she's like, we have to pivot. We have to figure out something else for the kids.
But to that point, Jody, and that reality is absolutely, I mean, we're seeing some of that with the larger companies that, they never plan for this. But I mean, you and I both know in business, I mean, what you didn't plan for likely is going to happen at some point, right? It's not if, it's just when. But the other part I would say off that is the beautiful part to the folks that in the small business community, we preach this all along. I mean, and I used to hear this all the time in mentoring businesses. Oh, we're small. We don't have the capital of the big companies. We don't have, and I used to always say, you know what? You are completely looking at the glass half empty, because what you do have is flexibility and adaptability. And that right now is like being a cheetah with a field full of gazelles, man. I mean, so as small business, yes, we don't have the cash flow, to lean back on and can just sit on our haunches and be like, we'll just pull from the bank account for a while. But I mean, small businesses can pivot. I told people that you can pivot faster than they can have 2 meetings to even talk about pivoting, right? I mean, and so it becomes can we get out of this long enough to let ourselves say, hey, I can change, I'm gonna change, and I'm gonna follow the market where it goes to. And I don't mean like chase everything that moves, but look at what's beginning to transpire within your market.
Yeah, and I think so. This will go to one of the questions I usually ask is, have you gone to some of your clients and went to them and said, what are alternative avenues for revenue, or what are ways that we can figure out ways to build up like passive income or something for you, that because you were so focused on this, you couldn't work on it. Right. Now that you're not on this road, now that this road went from this road to this road. Right. Yeah. Where anything's possible. So is that something you have? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, so the idea, I mean, this has driven the point home of what do you have as residual income, within your business, and instead of everything being a one-off. And, we're as guilty of that as anything. We have a huge amount of resources. We have a large bench strength of consultants that are all contracted in, right? So we don't carry the overhead. But the fact is, every solution that we create is custom to that client. Now, we go back to our library of resources. We don't start from a blank sheet of paper, but we're building one-offs out of a Lego set or a Tonka toy set of pieces to do that. So, but yeah, you've got to begin to look at your business to say, hey, how do we create baseline revenue that we can continue to keep coming in? And really, I mean, to use us for an example, this is going to open up a ton of markets for us, because we've gone to nothing but a virtual platform. I mean, and so that for us, where our client base, we've had a few that fit outside the Central Florida area and outside the East Tennessee area. But for the most part, our clients wanted us face to face, right? They want that. And I feel that's a comfort zone for me. I feel good about that. But what we're starting to see with this virtual thing, and I think it's going to change people's mindset of like, hey, I don't need somebody to go stand in my lobby for me to meet with them, right? I can leave from one meeting, go right into a next Zoom meeting or a GoTo meeting or a team meeting, a Microsoft team meeting, like that. No commute, no nothing. And so people, I think, are going to see the benefit of that. And so that for us is going to open up new markets, because we're going to, I mean, we're already pushing to start doing more virtual consulting and virtual business coaching.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
it's less, we have to schedule something out in 2 weeks. Let me look at my calendar. We're like, hey, do you got 10 minutes this afternoon? Yeah. That we can talk real quick. Yeah, you're right about the flexibility part.
And that's a plus and a minus. So for me, I mean, there are days where I literally click off. I mean, I've even had I've been working off my laptop and switching over then to my desktop PC for another call, because they overlap sometimes. So I'll mute myself on one to go ahead and switch over to the other. That's great when you look at the effectiveness of my day. But it's mind blowing to me, because I enjoy the 15 or 20 minutes in the car driving from one client to the other, just to kind of shift gears, right? Yeah. I mean, in your line of work, you get those creative juices going in one direction, man. It's like a herd of cattle, right, or buffalo trying to stop and go the other direction. So
I used to call this was a while back when it wasn't so rage filled. I'd call Twitter my palate cleanser.
Yeah.
I'd get done with one project, I'd hop on Twitter and just kind of read an article or something, and then be like, all right, I'm ready for the next one. 2 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But it was something just to, go like pick up my brain out of one category and dump it into another. But I will say the flip side of a lot of this, the downside is I'm seeing a lot of people saying they're working a lot more because they're so available.
Oh yeah,
like,
no, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. One of my friends does remote job placement. That's his business.
Right.
And he was like, man, I am working like 9 a.m. He was like, I get up at 8:50.
Yeah.
And I roll out of bed and I immediately start working at 9. And he's like, it'll be 8:15 at night and I'm still working.
Right.
And he was like, it's because everybody knows they can latch on now. And he was like, I finally had to tell my boss one day, he's like, I'm off today. He's like, I gotta go get out of my house. And him and his wife just got in the car and he's like, we just drove for 4 hours in one direction. They turned around, drove 4 hours back.
Yeah.
I just had to get the hell out of the house, man.
Yeah.
He's like, it was driving me nuts. So,
yeah. Well, we've gotten isolated from our workplace, but the fact is, that isolation now has put our workplace in where we live, and so the barrier lines to that are tough. I mean, my wife and I enjoy the fact that she's across the house and working virtually as well, but we love having lunch together because I travel so much. I mean, this is the longest stint of me not traveling in I think we said 11 years.
Oh my God. Oh,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, because even before I started my business, I was traveling constantly with my former employer. So, and for her and I, this is the longest stint that we've been together since we've been married. We've been married almost 7 years. Yeah. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, so we see that as a blessing, right? We're enjoying the aspect of I walk out of my home office and into the kitchen area and get to have lunch with my wife. But I mean, and then I'm right back in here and right back at it again. And that convenience is nice, but to your point, what you just said, there's no isolation, right? It's just it's nonstop, and we can be having lunch and a client calls on the phone, and I'm back in the office again. So
that's one thing I've tried to preach to some people now that are just now getting into this is like you got to have a line of demarcation somewhere in your house.
Yep.
You got to have a place, and I'm like, oops. I don't have kids, so I don't have to, and I've got friends like my friend Elisa, who was just on, she ended up setting up a desk for her daughter in her office because her daughter would just come into her office. She was like, I can't stop her. She's 3, so she set up a desk. She was like, you're going to work next to mommy. And that was a light switch flip. Like, oh yeah, then she's just going to sit there and draw and work.
Right.
But I've told that to a lot of people, like I have an office. Like I come into my office and I work and then get up and after work go into my living room. Right,
that's right.
Where the TV is. Yeah.
And we're blessed to have that, but I mean lots of people don't have that. I mean so when we built the house, we built a full-blown office into the house, and that's been a blessing for me because it's a space that I can come in and fully submerge myself. But like you said, when I get up at the end of the day, I walk out and I can, it's behind me. And I tell you what, the small things, the small platform things that we did early on have helped a lot. I mean, we use Visita, and I'm not promoting Visita, so don't, that's not what I'm going, but I'm saying we use Visita as far as scheduling goes. And so that looks at my calendar, my universal calendar on my phone everywhere for available slots. And so, if it's not within there, people can't grab the time. Right. And so now pretty much every client I've got or ever had has my mobile number, and we do that, obviously for obvious reasons, and they can reach me anytime. But for the most part, there has to be those lines, because otherwise you won't, man. You'll be. Yeah. And it's not like you're working 24/7. It's just that you have to be available 24/7 because the inquiries are going to come in. So.
Yeah, I've been working to get better at, the anti-version of that statement is when it comes to email, like only answering my email in the morning and in the afternoon. I was like, but the problem in my line of work is I have to send out proofs. So I almost have to leave the email open to send out proofs.
Right.
But I've been trying to figure out a way to balance that to where maybe it's quit out of email and do it 3 times a day or something like, or just do a folder of proofs to at one point drop them all and send them all out. But you got to figure out what works best. Like you were saying earlier, you got to figure out what works best for you. And I think this is making a lot of people reassess that.
Oh yeah, no, it is. And I mean, your point is one of the things that we teach clients. I mean, especially business owners themselves, is beginning to isolate your calendar and block sections of your calendar that like are not negotiable. I mean, so, because what happens with business owners, I mean, and you know this all too well, everything's a priority A, right? I mean, and so, and so then you end up with this list of priority A's that like, even if I had 3 straight days, I couldn't get them all done. Yeah. And then what you start doing is start trying to multitask, and then you find you're not being as effective as what you need to be, and you end up in this crazy spiral. It's like, man, I just want to get off the carousel.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to begin to block to do that, and you can go too far that direction, right? I mean, you can go. Like you said, if you've got a bunch of clients that you've got proofs out to, and you're like, next time I'll check my emails tomorrow morning. It's like, I don't know that I would encourage that, right? I mean, you may not have those clients for long, but. So yeah, I mean, but the idea is figuring out that functionality, what works best for you. Yeah. But we're real big into customer service. We teach our clients that it's about serving others, because if you're not serving others, you're not going to be in business very long. That's the reality of it. And so, but with that, you can take that too far to where they're running you ragged, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're subservient to them. That's a different story. So, but
yeah, somebody once gave me a piece of advice and said, because I'm quick at what I do, right? And they're like, sometimes don't show that as an asset,
right?
Because if you show that, same thing, they'll take advantage of it. It's like, all I need is this real quick change, and it's like you could be in the middle of something else.
Yeah,
and to pull out and do that is a nightmare. So they're like, sometimes let them wait an hour or so, you know what I mean? Like if you get it done in 5 minutes, don't show them you can get done in 5 minutes.
No, I mean, that can be your secret sauce, right? I mean, the fact is, and that goes back to managing expectations, that unfortunately what happens with some clients is you show them that, and that becomes their expectations of like, everything's going to be done in less than 10 minutes. It's like, hey, in the graphic design world, it doesn't work like that, Chief. I got to be honest with you. So, a small change or something like that may happen, but, new designs and stuff like that, they're not on the shelf, right? They're not on that shelf behind me. They're not just waiting to be pulled off. Yeah.
They're not a CD I can just pull out.
That's right.
There it is.
That's
Throw
right.
It at you. Yeah.
So,
are you able to kind of remain positive through all this? You personally?
Yeah, I mean, we really have been. I mean, it's we take it dead serious. Florida's got high numbers. The numbers are really not that high where we are in Central Florida. I mean, it's predominantly South Florida that's been really hit hard by this. It's scary because it's scary from the sense of there's no solution yet, right? I mean, and that's it's hard for us to get our heads around, I think, because we are a society of, you just go buy it at the grocery store, right? Every solution you need is on Amazon or your grocery store or whatever. I mean, and this doesn't have a solution yet. And so, I mean, that in of itself, it just does not compute.
Yeah.
The flip side of it is that I am thankful for is that we're all in this together, man. It's not a race thing. It's not a nationality thing. It's not a demographic thing. It's everybody. I mean, and it has, although it impacts, some people differently depending on age group and health condition and stuff like that. Most of us have somebody that's very near and dear to us that fits within that range. And so, thank God this is not just a U.S. thing, because I think the rest of the world would be like, hey, tough luck. Or I think we would do it. No, I mean, I do.
Yeah,
I think we as Americans collectively, not all of us, but I mean, I'm not speaking for everybody, but I think we have a tendency to be, hey, you know what? We're going to send some money to it. We're going to send some doctors and research to it, but it's really not our problem.
Yeah.
And we kind of feel good about what we did and go on with it. But the fact is, we're all in the boat together, and it's all one big boat. I mean, it's crazy. So, but yeah, we've stayed optimistic about it. I mean, would we choose this? Heck no. I mean, never. Yeah. I mean, this is because, like I said, I'm not sure that we've even seen the worst of it. And I'm not talking about the health part of it. I'm talking about the economic part of it. I mean, in that I just don't know how long the ripple effect of this is going to go. I mean, for us in Central Florida, I mean, I don't even know if you know this being in Tennessee, but, you know, I mean, as of Sunday night, Walt Disney World basically furloughed 77,000 employees. All their employees except for a small handful. And I'm not going to get into whether that's the right thing or wrong thing to do, but that number of employees, that many people at one time, Central Florida obviously is a tourism based and you know and supplemental to that tourism are service based industries. You know, most of those people, I shouldn't say so. There are some percentage of those people that probably have a nest egg to fall back on and going to weather through that some, but at some point in time, those reserves begin to run out, right? I mean, and I mean, so now you don't have the tourism coming into bringing the new dollars. You don't have the tax base because the tourism's not here. And oh, by the way, all those people that we're putting into the economy as well, because they're just employees, cast members, if you will, of you know, a Disney or a Universal or a SeaWorld. I mean, all those. I mean, that's the big engine that runs Central Florida. All those are closed. I mean, so, you know, that's going to have a lasting impact, even once the tourism starts to come back in. And to your point earlier, I mean, they're thinking about this, but how do you run Disney with everybody 6 feet apart? I mean, I mean, how do you run SeaWorld like that, or what, or any of the attractions?
How many people, like, someone in East Tennessee is going to feel comfortable in going down there and being around all those people. Like that insecurity too of I don't want to be around that many people, man.
Well, I mean, it's a lot like Las Vegas. I mean, we are by the nature of our industries that thrives in Central Florida for the most part. There's definitely some other industries here, but I mean, tourism is kind of the heartbeat of Central Florida. We're a petri dish. I mean, and I mean that, you know, respectfully, because we welcome people from all over the world. I mean, you know, people always ask me, what's it like to grow up in Orlando? What's it like to live in Orlando? You know, and it's great, but you know, the other side of it is it's dangerous to drive on the roads. The reason why I say that is because you have people, you know, a large percentage of people are not from the state. But, you know, there's whole another percentage of people that are from this country. They're on the wrong side of the road. You know, and they're not going to miss Disney. So, you know, if they're in the left-hand lane and that's the right-hand turn they need to make, they unfortunately head out across 3 lanes of traffic like they're driving in Italy, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you can't do that here, you know, and people get in horrific accidents all the time, you know, and deaths occur and stuff like that with people that you know, they're not even from here. And so it's just it's part of it, right? No different than Tennessee has the, you know, the Knoxville area has the Great Smoky Mountains. We've all seen the, you know, the photographer guy from out of state that wants to get a picture of the black bear from 6 feet away. Good luck. You know?
Well, the one thing I'd say about them driving though is now they can probably do that because nobody's on the road. They can just. I'm just imagining Chevy Chase in Vacation. Just
that's right. That's exactly right.
I've been watching in the tourism. There's been a lot of video people going up to Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg and doing drone photos.
Drone. I've seen some of
I need to look up Disney World because I bet there's a ton for Disney World of just
empty park. We saw one actually. I think it was yesterday. We saw one. It was funny because they were cruising down the main street that takes you into Disney, and then you could see the drone just pull up and pull back because Disney controls the airspace. They own the airspace over Disney. So, and I don't know all the legal aspects of that, but I just know that they don't allow that. So this particular drone, but I'm sure there have been drones that have flown over it. I'm sure it's out there somewhere. So
I gotta catch my breath for a minute on that one. Owns the airspace.
Well, I mean, I know it's a restricted space. I mean, typically, if there's so many people there, you wouldn't want that. But I mean, I did the same thing. With Vegas, man. That whole. I mean, it looks like a graveyard. I mean, and it's crazy. I mean, to think of. That many hotels and casinos and stuff like closed. We're closed. You know, it's just like.
Well, and it was funny. I posted a video from Pigeon Forge this was like 3 or 4 weeks ago, And one of my friends actually commented and said, "This has got to be fake." I was
Yeah.
like, "No, where are you living, man?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
This is real." He was like, "All those hotels can't be that empty." I was like,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is really happening, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?"
Yeah. I see one of the comments that somebody threw out there that the granddaughter of Walt Disney threw a fit over the whole Disney thing. Yeah. I mean, lots of people are upset over, I mean, because when you talk about those kind of numbers, and I'm sure Disney's not the only one, right? I mean, that's a large number, but there's others, but there's a ripple effect that's, like I said, that's going to take place with that in a big way.
And in that vein, there's been a weird thing that I don't know how to communicate well, but it's almost to like people I know to be like, don't, to the point of the Walt Disney woman, the granddaughter, maybe don't flaunt your ballerness at this point, because there are people hurting, and I'm seeing people here, they're like, we're going out to eat, we're buying all this stuff, it's like, there's a lot of people who can't do that.
Right.
So the lady at Walt Disney is like, maybe instead of worrying about how this is going to impact you, you got 77,000 people that you should, I don't know. Again, I don't know a good way to communicate.
Yeah.
That.
No, I mean, I think your point's well taken, Jody. And that is, I mean, I would hope that more of us would be more empathetic towards other people. Right. I mean, there's lots to be said that our world lacks a lot of empathy. I mean, just in nature. I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, even to my earlier point of, my wife and I driving 30 miles to go support a local restaurant that we enjoy, that's off the plate for a lot of people right now. I mean, twofold. One is to go out to eat, and second is to even be able to like drive 30 miles, like gas money, that money's not there right now. And so, we are empathetic towards them, but there's also lots of sympathy and compassion for that as well. And our mindset of that is not a, hey, in your face to those people that can't do it. Yeah. But my point is that business employs employees as well, and we're trying to keep them alive as well. So
and I wasn't thinking about you. I was thinking about others that I've seen of like, God, one guy, he'll never see this, so this is fine. Also, this is fine if he does see this. There's a guy I know that got his stimulus check and went and bought a brand new TV and bought all this stuff. I'm like, holy crap, dude! Like, and he still has a job. He's still working, all this stuff. Whereas on the flip side, one of my friends was like, I don't need this money. Tell me nonprofits to give this to.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I can help you out there. I was like, this Second Harvest is struggling, not struggling, but they need it right now. Right. They've given out 1 million pounds of food just in the month of April. Just in the month of April. Yeah. Like, that's amazing for them. It's like, that's, holy crap. That's a lot. So, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
without yelling or being didactic towards
I understand your point. I mean, and I mean, to be honest with you, that was going to be kind of my message to leave with, and I'm not ending the call on this, but I mean, if there's anything that any one of us can do right now, it's to serve one another, man. I mean, I'm just telling you, we've had plenty of clients call us that we've had new clients that aren't even clients. I mean, they're not even paying us for our time. And it's not that we're going to get a bunch of pro bono work, but right now, I mean, we're about helping businesses survive. I mean, the fact is, I hope they become clients long term. But right now, man, if we can help a business, and I mean, again, I would even throw it out to your viewers. If we can help you in some form or fashion, get a hold of me, either through Jody or look us up through Affirm Consulting. I'm the founder of the business. It's my company. Get a hold of us. I mean, if we can help you in some way, we're going to do that, because the fact is, at every different level right now, it's going to take all of us to get through this. I mean, and I mean that emotionally and from a business sense of things. We're all about, we're in this thing for the long haul, and we're all in it to help small business. And I tell people, if you ever call us, if we can ever call you a client one day, I'll be humbled and honored to do that. Most importantly is, I want to keep you. I know the importance of the small business community to every community, and hey, our job is to serve you in doing that. So,
well, okay, so we'll end on a positive. Did you watch the video I sent you?
I did. Yeah.
Okay. So had you seen Jackie Brown? Did you know that movie?
Yeah, I know of the movie. Yes.
Did you know that story about him?
No, I did not know that at all.
So for the people watching this, the homework is a video called Best Story Ever, Robert Forster. There's only one E at the end. He's the guy who's in Jackie Brown, and he gives like these great rules in there. He's like, be positive, be willing to, but I thought this fit you perfectly.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you even thinking like that, because that was a great video. But that's exactly right, man. I mean, I'm just telling you, you're going to serve 100 people before you may ever be served. But I assure you, there is great delight in serving other people, and whether it ever comes back around or not is irrelevant to me. But I can tell you, it comes back around. I mean, the blessings are usually a tidal wave. I mean, but I'm just telling you, it's been awesome for us. We've been successful financially at Affirm Consulting, but more importantly than that is the success that we've got to share in with our clients and helping them achieve things. Man, you can't put a number in a bank account that matches those things.
No. Yeah, good karma points. Yeah.
I
just did something for somebody, and she's like, "How much should I owe you?" I was like, "You put so much good karma out in the world. This is karma coming knocking." Here you go.
Well,
all right.
And to the point of that video, I mean, the fact is, you never know when it's going to come back around. So if you're waiting for with a hand forward and a hand behind you, that hand behind you may stay empty for a while. Just put your hand back in your pocket. It'll come back around. It's all there.
And talking about being ready, willing, and able, essentially, to be like, when the opportunities come, be like, all right, I'm here. Let's go. Let's do this. Like, that was great. But, all right. Thank you for doing this.
Absolutely, man. Enjoy the time, Jody. Take care of yourself. And again, if we can help you, let me know, buddy.
Okay. Thanks.
Take care, man. See you, man.
See ya.